Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1208, and today's date is February 18th, 2017, and the title of the episode is Ex-CIA Says Deep State Planning Operation American Spring for May of 2017. Let's get right into the economic collapse news. Now, we can see, not just here in the United States, but across the world, where the deep state, the shadow governments, the central banks of the different regions, well, they are rearing their ugly heads. And we can see right now that the central banking system, that's where it all derives from. It's from the central banking system because they handle the monetary policy. They want to stay in power. They want control over governments. They want to put countries into debt and control the populations. And we can see that they're having their soldiers, well, they're having them fight back now because they see what's happening. I mean, just think about this for a second. Out in the EU, we have France, Italy, Germany, and many other countries, the UK. They're all looking to change leadership. And once they change leadership, they're all saying, you know something, we don't want to be part of the central banking system. Here in the United States, we're seeing the same exact thing. And the people are now speaking up. And the central bankers, they don't like this. So they're unleashing their soldiers and pushing this to the next level. What we see is out in the UK, we know that the Brexit actually really didn't happen. Yes, they're preparing for it. And we can see that the central bankers, they're preparing to stop it. Remember what Mario Draghi said, anyone that wants to leave the EU, well, they're going to have to pay their debts. And many countries right now, guess what? They can't afford to do this. Tony Blair is out there saying leaving the EU is not inevitable and has called on pro-EU Britons to revolt against the Brexit. Here we go, folks. It is happening. Blair also took the opportunity to hit out at Tory Prime Minister Theresa May for pursuing Brexit at any cost, warning her it could lead to a second Scottish independence referendum, breaking up the United Kingdom. Now, they're pulling out all the stops right now to stop this. And we can see right now, this is happening not just here in the United States. We're seeing this happen across the globe. Anywhere where any country or people decide, you know something, we're done with this globalist central bank type of system and we want a change, it is not happening. Now, we know that the deep state, the central banks, they've blamed the alternative media. Remember when they listed all the alternative media sites saying that these are Russian sites and they've been working with Russia? And what's very interesting about all of this is that the Washington Post actually takes Russian government money, Chinese money, to publish propaganda. Yes, all countries pretty much do this, where they push propaganda in all different areas. And what happens here is that the paper is receiving money from Russia, receiving money from China, and it's called native advertising within the contents of the newspaper. So when you see Russia beyond the headlines, that is really a paid advertisement. And the Washington Post is receiving money for that. Same thing with China. When you see China's area inside the Washington Post, they're paying money for this. This is not a story that was created. This is a paid advertisement. Now, the fact that the Washington Post would give credibility to obviously ridiculous organizations with an entirely invented list of Russian propaganda sites is absolutely amazing because they're the ones who are taking the funds. They're the ones who are pushing the propaganda by receiving funds from Russia and China. Now, how many people read this? Well, who knows? But we can see right now it's part of a system that is being used throughout the world. It's not just here in the United States. The United States does this quite a bit in many other countries where they have their propaganda news organizations where they're pushing out the propaganda of the United States. Now we can see that activist groups have dumped more than $1.5 million into political ads targeting President Trump's nominees to head the Department of State and the Environmental Protection Agency. And they're spending a lot of money out there to advertise everything against Trump. Now, again, I'm not for Trump. I'm not for Clinton. I'm for someone who's going to be in the White House, who's going to work for the people. And what we're seeing right now is that there's a major battle. Yes, Trump came out in the beginning. He was saying that he was going to work for the people. He's going to do things for the people. This is why he was elected. And we can see right now, during these first 100 days of him in office, we see that the deep state, the central banks, well, they started a campaign of propaganda to pretty much go after Trump right now. And this is completely obvious. And we see right now, there is a major war going on right now. Now, the deep state's dramatic emergence is proof our elections mean absolutely nothing, because they are still in control of what is going on. They still hold all the keys. The central bank is still in control. And we see right now, they're trying to push their agenda onto Trump. They want him to do what they want him to do. They want him to go along with their agenda, period. And what we're seeing right now is that there's a battle going on, and we know there's a battle going on. And it's going to get worse as time goes on. It's not going to everything's not just going to calm down and everything's going to go back to normal. Because what we're seeing right now is that Rex Tillerson, well, he just went to the 7th floor, which is known as the shadow government area. And the 7th floor of the Washington, D.C. based Department of State said, we are getting rid of all you individuals. For years, this group on the 7th floor consider themselves the untouchables. They live a life of high finance, massive expensive accounts, chartered airline, cocktail parties, expense chauffeurs. They have their kids in private school, and they're calling a lot of the shots right now. Remember, there's many different groups within this. There are many different factions, I should say. And the central bank is at the top here. So much of the 7th floor, who work for the Deputy Secretary of State for Management and Resource and the counselor offices, were told that their services were no longer needed. Ambassador Christy Kenny, the counselor of the State Department and one of the last remaining senior officials, was informed that she will be let go. She is a career Foreign Service officer who had served as an ambassador under President Obama, Bush, and Clinton. And they're just getting rid of her. Right now, Tillerson does not intend to fill the counselor position at any time soon. And we can see what's happening right now. Trump, he's trying to go after all these individuals, while he has individuals that are within his administration that are listening still to the neocons, to the central banks, and carrying along their message. So there's a lot of things going on all at once. This is why it seems like there's chaos going on. And this is why there's a war between the media, which is part of that system. There's a war between the deep state. And we've seen this in the past. This is nothing new. Andrew Jackson went up against the central bank. They attempted to assassinate him. It didn't work out, and he got rid of the central bank. Kennedy was going up against the shadow government, the central banks. They got rid of him. There's an ex-CIA operative, Robert Steele. He's written a memo to President Trump warning him that he needs to prepare for the violent American spring. He said it's being planned right now. It's going to happen May 1st, 2017. He says there'll be tens of millions of paid agitators who will cause massive chaos in the streets of America. This is the memorandum from the president warning. You have 30 days to settle the country. A violent American spring looms. You are under attack on 3 fronts: the extreme left and the controlled fake news, the U.S. neoconservatives, the central banks, and this is funded by foreigners, the deep state, and many others. And we can see right now that the deep state is entrenched so deep right now that it's blackmailing representatives, senators. They're being bribed. And this is why we're starting to see a lot of this come out right now. Because what's happening is these individuals in government, they've never been working for the people. They've been working for special interest groups. Don't you ever wonder why they come out of government very, very wealthy? Don't you ever wonder why when they come out of government, they get these incredible gigs where they're making millions and millions of dollars? And he's saying that things are happening very, very quickly right now. He says to get rid of Priebus, you need a loyal chief of staff who can manage complexity and a national strategy advisor with balance. He said, create a nonprofit educational Trump channel backed up by an open source agency. Clear the existing press area in the White House. Turn that into Trump Studios and offer a daily fireside chat as well as short daily briefs by your principals in turn of each threat, each policy, each budget. Bypass the fake news media. Educate the public. And use PollMole to see what 200 million think on a presidential dashboard. Now, from everything that we've been seeing and everything that has been done at this point, we can see that the central bank, the deep state, well, they're ready to push their events to the extreme right now because they realize that they cannot be exposed. They realize that this is what the administration is trying to do. At least it seems like that's what they're trying to do. And we can see that they're coming out into the open and showing themselves that, look at us, we're going to stop this individual. And it's not just here in the United States, but we're seeing the central bankers around the world pushing their agenda. Why do you think Germany, France, all are out there saying that Russia is cyber attacking the elections? Russia is going to fix the elections because they're trying to create this scenario that they're going to fix the elections so the others will get elected, and they're trying to stop this from happening. They tried to do this here in the United States, but it didn't work. And you can see out in the other countries, they're doing the exact same thing where we're going to stop the fake news. We're going to hide some of the alternative media, some of the social media news articles if they don't agree with our agenda. And if we're losing in the polls, well, this is because the systems are being attacked. And we need to stop the polls because we're losing. And this is what these other countries are doing, just like the United States. And if you notice, they're all doing the same exact thing. There's really no difference at this point because it's all part of the same system. Now, we see the mercenary group Blackwater. They've received $240 million in government contracts. And we know what Blackwater is. They're also known as Academy. And we can see right now that this group is made up of U.S. Special Forces commandos, and they're operating right now in Central Africa. In late January, a source on the ground in the Central African Republic spotted a Sikorsky S-61 helicopter with the registry number N408RC carrying American Special Forces troops. Now, according to the Federal Aviation Administration, the Sikorsky helicopter, well, that belongs to Illinois-based EP Aviation LLC. EP Aviation was once a subsidiary of Academy, the Virginia-based company that was formerly known as Blackwater. And the EP stands for Eric Prince. And very interesting is that Eric Prince, the Blackwater's founder and the younger brother of billionaire U.S. Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos, which is very interesting as we're looking at the whole entire situation that's going on right now. And what we're seeing is that Eric Prince has Trump's ear. So when we look at this entire situation, we can see those neocons, those individuals that are in the administration, around the area of the administration. You can see they're pushing their agenda, and we can see that things are really chaotic at this point because what we're seeing is a lot of people on the administration staff, like Mike Pence, like Mattis, well, they're out there saying that, listen, we're not going to cooperate with Russia right now until America gets stronger. And, Putin is going to have to show some good faith here by returning Ukraine, by stopping the Russian aggression. And we can see that Mike Pence right now is saying that we have full support of NATO right now. and pledges to hold Russia accountable, which shows us at this point that these individuals are receiving information from the deep state, the shadow government still, the neocons still, and they're going with it. And what's happening right now is we do have a lot of chaos in this region, and they're trying to create the chaos. This is what they want. They want the chaos to completely have the administration not knowing what they're doing next. This is their plan. Because if they can do that and actually have the violent American Spring in May, guess what? Trump most likely will be removed. And if that doesn't work, they'll take the next step. Remember from the beginning when he was campaigning during the election, and Clinton was campaigning during the election, where they tried everything they possibly could to make sure that he didn't win the election. And of course it didn't work. And he got in. Now, here we are in the second part of it where we said if he did get in, they're going to do everything in their power to remove him. This is the point we're at right now. Because what we're seeing is that the entire system is falling apart. They know this is falling apart. They know the economy cannot continue on. They know that Trump has the ability to spread the truth if he truly wants to. And this is what they're nervous about. And before he starts to do this, actually, he didn't mention this in a press conference where when he was talking to the press and they said, oh, this is very fake news. He said, because I'm in the trenches here. I know what is really going on and I know what you're spewing. What he was saying at that point is, listen, be very careful. I can spill everything out into the open and it would bring the whole entire system down. Now, if he did this I believe would be a major problem for the entire country. Because remember, many people are still living in this illusion that we're the good guys. America is exceptional. Everything is great. We don't do anything wrong. And what we're seeing already from the CIA leaks, where they were hacking into the French elections, we know they were spying on Angela Merkel, we know they were spying on Hollande, we know there's regime change going on around the world. And if this actual information comes out, it's going to be things that we couldn't even dream of. And it would shock the American public. And this is why the deep state, the shadow government, the central bankers are working so hard to shut this down. And we can see as we're moving closer and closer and forward out into 2017, we can see how things are really building up. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.